Hi, I'm Jody Dahmer, and we got another Awkward Maps Explained. So today we're going to be comparing the roads between Germantown, Schnitzelburg, Paristown, and the west neighborhoods on Beargrass Creek, Smoketown, Phoenix Hill, and Shelby Park. So as we see in the racial dot map, this is one of the most historical segregation boundaries in our city, Beargrass Creek. So a lot of bad stuff happened in Louisville. Basically, Smoketown here is one of the oldest, most historic neighborhoods in the city, and when we say the word historic, that meant that from the 1860s on, every city planner, every government official, and every resident of Louisville knew that this was a black neighborhood. So when you're designing the roads 2 centuries ago, almost, and you had all of that hatred and all of that racism, the Civil War had just ended, a lot of Confederates were moving into Louisville, you design your roads specifically to target those minority areas and prohibit them from getting into the white sections of town. So you'll see here that we got Beargrass Creek on the right-hand side here, which is a pretty good boundary if you wanted to isolate a community, because basically the government has to decide what roads they want to build across. And to the south here, we got the railroad, which has a lot of rights in the United States, and it's very easy to cut off roads here. We're going to be analyzing specifically what roads were cut off between the majority white neighborhoods of Germantown, Schnitzelburg, and Paristown, and how we could bridge these divides, whether that's literally or redesigning our roads into two-way streets that function for a neighborhood and not like a highway. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is the South Fork of Beargrass Creek. I've analyzed every single road in the city. In this neighborhood, the red means that that road does not leave the neighborhood boundary according to Google. So Schnitzelburg is in this section here. Most of the roads in Schnitzelburg don't leave Schnitzelburg, but we do have some roads in orange which cross neighborhoods, and by that I mean you can use that road to get between different neighborhoods. It doesn't just end inside. So with Schnitzelburg and Germantown, there are a lot of roads that, if we zoom out, go out of the neighborhood. When we get out into the suburbs around Belknap, Hayfield, Dundee, there are a ton of roads that actually go from Seneca Park all the way over to what looks like Bardstown Road in a relatively straight line. That's really good, convenient, fast. But then we look up towards the Highlands, Tyler Park. Most of the roads in the neighborhood stay in the neighborhood, so it doesn't actually connect to black neighborhoods very much. We can see that here. Another big thing, you can see here that there are no roads right here. There is a planned bike path on Nightingale Lane that'll hopefully connect over to Bellarmine, but you can see that the South Fork of Beargrass Creek does a lot to isolate these different areas. And when there's no road connecting Algonquin Parkway to Eastern, you have to use 3rd Street here. Basically, the only access you have from a majority black neighborhood, as we can see in the census data, is we got Hill Street, which ends at Wilson Avenue. We have Oak Street, which turns into Virginia, which turns into Hale, and it actually becomes one way. We got St. Catherine Street, which ends at 9th Street and doesn't go across 9th Street. We got Kentucky Street, which goes across but actually ends at 15th. And we got Breckenridge, which is ending at 9th Street. So all three of these roads are one-way streets. And Oak Street is a one-way street. Goss Avenue turns into a one-way street after crossing the railroad here. We got a whole lot of roads that used to connect. As we can see in this old map of Louisville, we're looking at like probably 1860s-ish. You can see that this is the Shelby Road, Preston Highway kind of turnpike. There used to be a Civil War fort here. That's why it's called Meriwether Fort Hill. And let's look at it today. So we actually have Floyd Street and Preston Street that are cut off now. You can't drive in a straight line. All of these roads in black, Dandridge Avenue, Shelby Parkway, St. Catherine Street, they've all been cut off. You go up here, Shelby Street's been cut off. You try to get on Campbell from Logan Street, Campbell Street's been cut off. So when we zoom out, we actually see that there are a ton of roads, almost in a crescent shape, that specifically mirror the racial divide in our city. So the question I'm asking is, why are all these things here in the first place? And now that we know that we're talking about everything in I-65 corridor, west part of Smoketown Shelby Park, is inaccessible to the South End, Churchill Downs, Beachmont area, and the fairgrounds at Bradley Avenue, what can we do to redesign this section of the roads so that we actually can get to the waterfront in a straight line, that we can actually get transit to the suburbs? Because right now we're looking at the connectivity here in Smoketown, and every road in black is a road that is affected. And it just so happens that you can't get to Prospect, one of the richest neighborhoods in the city. You can't get across to Tyler Park, again, one of the richest neighborhoods in the city. Two of these roads, Lambton Street and Finzer Street, those bridges no longer exist to get over to majority white Paristown, where they just built I believe it was a $20 million arena, and they're trying to redevelop a hospital there. So why are the bridges not part of a conversation to be had? Because Shirley May's Cafe could really benefit, and Mezig Middle School could really benefit from having a direct thoroughfare into this new arts district that the city's trying to make. Why do we have to have everything be one way in the black neighborhoods, but very few one-way streets in the white neighborhoods? I've been trying to figure out where a one-way street is in the suburbs here, and I haven't. But we're building $100 million to expand a lane of asphalt here, but we wouldn't dare put a one-way street in the same area. So why do we only do it in this section of town? So again, this is another Awkward Map Explained. I'm Jody Dahmer with Beargrass Thunder. We really want to do anything we can to bring attention to this issue, and if you want to work with us on trying to eradicate some of the systemic racial inequalities in the city of Louisville, Kentucky, or across the entire state. So let's get a statewide discussion on this, and let's fix it. All right, see ya.